Hi everyone, it's Nubian Sun, Ora, back with another video. And today I wanted to speak on more on the higher and lower self. And it's going to tie into what I've pretty much said in my other videos, like the last two videos. And first, I just wanted to make a comparison, right? So, like clinically, people are diagnosed with these disorders, mental disorders, mental state of mind. And there's this one that's like a personality disorder, but it's from trauma that happens in life. And like the person in their mind will create a different person, a personality to deal with the trauma. And these state of mind's consciousness individuals is a person with a face, like they usually will like give detail of what the person looks like it's a real person, but it's something that's inside of that one person that's experiencing it, inside of their head. No one else can see what these people look like, what they're saying, but it's a lot that go on inside of the human brain, and clinically they were able to catch a manifestation of something that is spiritually happening. I find that interesting. But what I'm about to tie into the higher and lower self is pretty much something like that. But it's when we are at our highest frequency state of mind, thinking of all the positive things in life, the good things in life, when we're in love and light, and lower vibrations whenever we have to survive in life or death situations, and that can come in different forms like food, shelter, emotional needs, things like that. So, either higher or lower self can be used as a tool for whatever your intentions are. Some people will have a higher self and acknowledge their higher self and know that it exists, but uses their higher self for evil, and vice versa. You can use your lower self for good, and I can make a video on that as well. But today, I just pretty much wanted to sum up. I don't want to get too much into summing up their activation, because I've already explained that in a video. But this is just to give you all a insight on how important it is to know which state of mind you're in and why it's important to know this, because a lot of times we know right from wrong, what's good and bad, but there's not a lot of times where we actually know that, like, name it with terms as of higher and lower self. And it's important for us to be more specific. It's a choice, but I'm going to explain my insight, okay? To be more specific than just to say, my bad, or that's a good person, And I say that because it's all about wording. I speak about that a lot in my videos. And the wording higher self and lower self is giving just enough of separation, not separating it completely, because then you'll sound crazy, because you're one person, with one brain, but it separates it in a way to where it's like you can identify the state of mind as a whole and not just by behavior. Because when we acknowledge things by behavior, a lot of times you can say, I try, or, the things that's not really giving yourself a lot of credit. So it's like you're pretty much like staying in the middle, but it's not making it high enough to where you can go into your higher self, But when you use certain different terms, it can help you identify things a lot better. It's like a better use of words. So the higher self is, it comes in and take over sometimes when you're not aware, and that's why, with autopilot is what I call it. When you're in autopilot and you're using, terms like my bad or that's a good person, and you're identifying actions of instead of character, because character is like when you really, really know somebody. But not to get off topic, the actions of said person, instead of identifying the actions that can, change and not really tell you much of who anybody is, you identifying the state of mind. It's high vibrational words as well. And when you're in autopilot, your higher self take over sometimes, and sometimes your lower self will take over, and you'll just be everywhere, and people won't really know how to see you unless they actually get to know you. And there's different levels to that as well, so that's a different video. But to be aware is to be aware that you are either your higher self or your lower self, So that's why when I say when you at your lowest self and it seems like you're in the middle, but you still low because you're not at your higher self. So it's like you're like it's pretty much like robbing your higher self for the knowledge and wisdom that it has to be able to use it for gain. It's very external. But I'm not going to say rob your higher self because, the higher self is trying to peek through. It has its time to shine, and it works with our physical body, so that was just something I wanted to put for this video purposes, but not to get off topic, right? So the higher self, when the higher self take over and you're operating in your higher self, that's when you are intuitive. When you know that the phone's about to ring and you don't know how you knew that, or you guess answers on a test at school. You don't know how you made an 85 and you just guessed everything, It's just being able to miss accidents, as the rain when it's raining, like you come home and then it just start pouring rain, and it happens often. Things that seems like it's a coincidence, but it's not. You're being in sync with your higher self, because your higher self does them type of things. It lives past, present, and future. Your higher self is always moving fast, and the spirit is always ahead of you. Our higher self is what saved us a lot of times, but the higher self is not fully activated until you make a conscious decision and you are very aware of yourself and yourself, and then you can fully activate the higher self. And you have to do a lot of work to get there. And I explained that also in my videos about the work that it takes to get there. It's levels of consciousness that you have to get there before you can get all the way regulated. And they say routine, but it's like a lifestyle, your higher self. I called it God body, my videos. But and in your lower self is like, when you're in your lower vibration, you don't manifest things that you really want. You manifest things that you need. Anything that you manifest that you want is not really a manifestation in a way, because you're already vibrating on that vibration. So you automatically going to receive those things, like recreational drinks and smokes and sex and stuff. So it's like at your lower self, it's like you're just pretty much like people say living in the moment, but that can go multiple ways. You can live in the moment and be your higher self. It's just the perception. But at your lower self, living in the moment, going with the flow, you're just pretty much like just letting life hit you however it wants to hit you. And that's where a lot of our turmoil and hopelessness come from, from being in our lower self, because we are not aware of there being a source that is trying to bring us up, into our higher self, to give us what we've been praying for and what we've been wanting, and trying to show us this process and trying to show its face. Like how they say, religious people say Jesus or God showed his face to me. That could be literal. I don't know. It could be literal, but for the most part, it's like different meanings to that. It could just be coming into awareness too. Sometimes people look at it as, when they say showed their face, meaning you can see the spirit behind the person. It could mean multiple meanings, but we don't realize that's what the universe is doing. So that is why it's important for us to comprehend exactly why the small things matter and why it's important to get your mental health in order, because a lot of times, we don't realize that that's why we haven't been receiving the things that we want or might even need, because we're not on the right vibration. We're not letting our higher self drive the boat a little bit more, until it could like take over, and that's what's best for us, because you don't want to be around here on autopilot and then low vibrations, because those are the exact vibrations and energies that the government manipulate and use to their advantage. And that's how you end up on the wrong side of a revolution, you know. And there was something else. And it's just having to train your mind. You know, we have to deprogram and reprogram our mind to self-love instead of hate. And I say that because a lot of people don't realize that they hate themselves, you know, even if it's just emotional issues from the way you grew up, having some type of resentment towards your parents, you know, those kind of feelings, and not processing them in a proper way can lead to self-hate that is not censored. You don't realize that it's there because it is in a different form. A lot of people think like self-hate is just like, you know, the things people love to talk about, you know, if you do something when it comes to, you know, your life, and your life's not together somehow, or something that you did, you know, it's deeper than that. You know, because a lot of times when we feel something so deeply, and it's like you don't want to feel that feeling, and it's like keeping you from like having relationships, you know, or like being proactive in life, anything, you know, we'll hate that feeling. So hating that feeling will have us hating ourselves, you know. And that is very important to actually know. And then you work on it. You know, you pull up all the weeds in your garden, in your mind, that was planted there, and you don't want it there anymore, and you replace them with self-love, you know, and self-forgiveness, you know, things like that. It's like self-love is like being able to not only forgive yourself and do the work as in to pinpoint exactly how you feel about certain situations and traumas and circumstances, and it's like a wide variety of that, but it's also how you feel about being here on earth, like being you, you know. A lot of times people want to be somebody else. Maybe you don't like your nose, maybe you don't like your teeth, maybe you don't like your hair, maybe you don't like your ethnicity, you know, maybe you don't like your size, maybe you don't like your spiritual aura. You know, maybe you wish that you could be more empathetic towards people, you know, and so you feel like something's wrong with you, you know. I feel like if I had to make that statement, because there's people that actually feel that way, because they are aware that empathy is really deep, you know, and they don't really understand why they can't go that deep, or why they can't feel those feelings that deeply. It's like they can acknowledge if someone is upset. They could feel uncomfortable because that person's upset. So that uncomfortability make them upset. So now they're upset that this person's upset. So they feel that kind of empathy for that person. But they cannot really feel exactly how that person's feeling in a way to where it's like, if they were to say, you know, they were suicidal or they were quiet, you didn't hear from them, then text. This person usually texts every day to go somewhere or to see you or to just tell you something, and you don't hear from them for like 4 days. They're in their house eating ice cream, rewatching shows, you know, and they're not really empathizing to the point where it's like you go sit with them. Instead, you're like, man, you need to get out the house. You need to get over. You need to let it go. Da 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 da. You know, they don't have that skill set to actually help that person out of that situation. You know, sidebar, am I usually people will get very upset about these kinds of people that feel that way, and they'd rather be alone than for that person to come chase after them, tell them to let it go. You know, because now it feels like, oh, it's a convenient for you because we usually hang out, but now I'm going through something and you don't want to hang out because I'm not happy. I'm not happy, you know. I've seen that happen, you know. But back on topic. So it's like we have to know exactly what it is that we do not like about ourselves. That's not a circumstance or because, yeah, like when we were little, that's a circumstance. You were young. You know, you were born into this world. You picked your parents, believe it or not, but you didn't have no control over that, you know. Once you become an adult, you have control over the narrative switch. You find the truth, not your truth, like how you seen it at that time, through your perception, through your understanding at that time. You know, you do it from truth. That clear up a lot of what I would call guiltiness, shame, you know, all those things that help keep you from forgiving yourself and forgiving others, you know. But that's self-love. And I did also put some things about being in lower vibration, because when you do things, you can break that whole statement apart of what I said. Is higher self and lower self in that, you know. Because whenever you are operating from hate as well, it's hard to let things go. Resentment, you know, when you're in your higher self, it's a little easier for you to let things go. And the universe take you through that whole transformation to letting things go, you know, and so you have no choice. But yeah, we participate in things every day that we don't have a choice in, and that's what actually teaches us how to self-hate. You know, we have to pay bills, we have to go to work. Nothing's wrong with work, but it's how often, and then how often we have to pay bills. It's not about what you do, it's how you do it, you know. So at the end of the day, it's like they make us do these things, and it's like, because we're doing it, it's like so easy for us to slide into doing other things that we don't want to do. That goes into pleasing people in our family that we don't really want to be doing things for, and we feel obligated, friends, you know, to the point where you don't really have time for yourself. You know, you gotta show yourself self-love, you know. But they teach us self-hate because of how we already have to be taught to be able to be a productive citizen of this world. And I don't put quotation marks around all of that. Productive citizen, you know, because look, Ain't nothing civil about this. And yeah, I hope you all understood what I said. I could put an example on it. Like, okay, children, if you have to co-parent and you take your child to the other parent's house and they have a different set of rules at their house and then you have a set of rules at your house, the child gonna be kind of confused because at daddy's house it was okay for me to go into the refrigerator and eat whatever I want, but then I go to mom's house and she has things prepped in a certain way, so it's like I can't really just go in there and just fix whatever I want because everything's prepped. And if I eat some things that's already in there, a whole meal is gone, So it's like things like that. Like, it's okay for me to curse up a storm at mom's house because maybe she's not home. But go to dad's house, he's home more. Maybe he in the back on the computer, but he hear me, so I can't be cursing, But, sometimes the child going to slip up. Maybe a lot of times if he or she is at the father's house, because why? Sometimes we forget, and it's so easy to slip out of character. Like, it's so easy to actually forget about what you was doing. That's how, we find ourselves in setbacks and stuff like that, and we have to catch ourselves because we haven't made it a lifestyle yet. You're still building on that. But that's why you can't, what they say, serve two masters. You have to pick a side. Like, you have to either love yourself, make a decision to love yourself, or to hate yourself. And you have to work on it, work through it, grow through it. Like, you can't not make a decision and then sometimes you might participate in something that could set you back. You done did so much work, so much growth, but because you didn't have your defenses up in a way to where you were aware and making sure you were staying in high vibration and not going to the family cookout and gossiping with your nosy ass aunties, as soon as you get there, because it's so easy to slip into things like that. It is. So it's like you have to know the difference. It's discipline. I spoke about that in a lot of my videos as well. Discipline, And another example I made, that if no one got the whole, children with the co-parenting situation, like, sometimes, inmates go through the same situation. Like, you can go into the pen for like 10 years, 7 years, 5 years, 4 years. It's a different set of rules there, and then you have to come out. And then you come out, you've been in there for so long, time done stopped and everything, because ain't nothing moving in there. It's so low vibrational. It's like, unless it's within yourself, because they be doing that too. But yeah, it's like, so at the end of the day, they come out, a lot of them go back in because it's a different set of rules. It's like hard to actually come out here and actually, follow the civilized rules. And it's a whole fucking jungle behind the damn cages and shit. I'm just saying. But it's a jungle here too. That's why I did like this. That's why I did like this. The only difference is like, I'm gonna do another video on that. because I need to talk about that too. But nothing really changes. Everything's usually always the same. It's just different shapes and forms, different faces. So, yeah, I'm gonna let everyone go. Have a great night. I hope you all are drinking your water, saying your affirmations, grounding yourself, staying balanced, you know. Peace and love.